that don't match their capital. Rockin' chains dripping, iced out and snatchable, while the agents stay coked up, uncrackable. This movement ain't trackable, fake, fraud, and magical. It's mathematical, practical, true and factual. Active Moors keeping it moving on behalf of you. And these babies being birthed out of these ladies and civics they're never given, naming the daughters Mercedes and butlers they'll never have, but Bentleys all in their daydreams. It's crazy, living a timeline in AD, like watching your family get murdered in HD. Either we're in denial or we all got ADHD. Afro-dominant hyper-deficit on the daily.
The eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right back from the tomb for ya all get consumed. Young-minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided defenseless.
Sound the alarm? Ring the bell. This life is an illusion, don't get attached to the shell. It's an invasion and intrusion of your molecules and cells. Mind the words that you use and have you trapped, it's a spell. Part of the reason why we hooligans and humanity is fell, rejuvenated, renewed again. The bays and the L, from the mountaintop we shout, Juali is what we yell. Ready or not, you're gonna have to be prepared to rebel. Bodies lying on the ground, you ready for the smell?
Warning, 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 warning. Ready, ready, ready. Ready or not. I keep Akashic records while robotics wanna stomp in records. Concealed spirit in all our vessels. Stay revealing with the moss all kept us from believing we'll be formula to ancestors. Treasures begin to open up my mind's book. Tracing back reflection to a time look. Looking in the mirror, facing my crook. Higher self fighting to survive through what frauds took facades. Claiming to be gods, tempting daughters to alter their bards. Hook to Hollywood images at the cost of our knowledge and our mystics. Is this attempt to knock, block, clock our existence? Is this weapons of mass destruction? No future for our children. Is this mental warfare through cosmetics, nutrition? Is this time to wake up, recognize misfits, erase their existence? There's none of your nuclear threats that could kill this, could kill this, could kill this.
The place in ruins, the eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right back from the tomb for ya all get consumed. Young-minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided defenseless.
I hear him prophet quoting, I'm running with my chakras open. Actually acting, homie, not just hoping. This life is a bitch, so I am not eloping. For this illusion, traveling this plane surely won't be my conclusion. They'll say I have a contusion, thought process delusional. I ain't playing the game, so I ain't losing though. Are they ready? I doubt it. Should I worry about it? Nah, I'll go to war for more, guess I'm devoted. Here I come, ready or not. Ready or not.
Living ready and not on purpose and with a plot. Don't get caught with a dot in the chest without an adequate level blessed or vest based on what we trust the most. It's of utmost importance that we trust the flow. It's how we grow from one point to the next. Simplify the complex. Since battle time, there's less time to define. Just act with less breath.
Ooh, it's right. Coming from the womb. It's the place in ruins. The eyes resurrected. Everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right back from the tomb for ya all get consumed. Young-minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided defenseless.
Where you been, Hoach? You mind your motherfucking business. When my life fell apart, you didn't have any interest. When I had no job of my own, they didn't want me sell white. What happened? We used to stick up stores, a squad was tight. Rob taxi drivers, sell ounces of blunt guts. A handful of crushed pine needles for dumb tough. When I was down and out, you tried to drag me further. If I died following you, who'd be responsible for my murder? Wise men break when the funds get low. Trying to feed my family, all I'm seeing round town is blow. You heard about so-and-so? Oh, that too, I heard he got dapped. Wasn't he a part of your crew? Many people found himself a home under henchmanati. But who's your brother's keeper when you need their help badly? The whole time I'm gone, only few checked in. How's your children? We pray to God for their blessings. So when you hear this track, don't ask sus, fuck all. Simple message you can pass to the rest. Hope she said, fuck y'all. And if I come back to stay, feel uncomfortable, you can say whatever you want. I think you're full of bull. No, I don't want your weed. I won't even take a pull. I've seen my life from so many angles, even through the wool. Pulled over my eyes, but I can see clearly the pain is gone. Thank heavens for my angels and all my children born. I'll fit like a pawn, lights, camera, action. I don't need wagon jumpers trying to join my faction. I'm not trying to break shit down, I'm not here for fractions. Read more books if you don't get it, or just ask them.
Ooh, it's right, coming from the womb. It's yeah, the place in ruins. The eyes resurrected, everything dead now has been manifested. Ooh, it's right, back from the tomb for ya, or get consumed. Young-minded and reckless, the eye can't stand when we divided, defenseless.
Even though I'm king and a god, and these things that are hard, I can bleed and get scarred in this physical body. So I move like a sergeant, not like a pawn in this garden. Carving the path, not the first, not the last, till the end. It's a task for a master. Shattered the box, no keys, no locks, no sheep, no flocks, no pastors. Starving for cabbage, hardening savage, causing the lavish, a pause in this status. Laws of the land is towards the advantage of bandits and bastards. We rise from the ashes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jamie Jones, and you are listening to Searching for More with your host, Nehesu Nagnagasel.
Yeah, Nehesu Nagnagasel. Let's try that.
That's what I just said.
Okay. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I misheard you.
See?
That was my fault.
How are you?
I'm doing very well, brother. How are you doing?
Well, life's good, my friend.
Yeah, it is.
I ain't got nothing to complain about. Well, no one would care if I did. Yeah. But how are you?
I'm doing well, man. Just cleaning off the table for some reason. Has some OCD going on, but I'm very well, and enjoying life and learning how to grow and change and adapt of who I am, and to continue to be that man that I'm destined to be. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be that man that I'm destined to be.
I heard that.
You know,
that song was a knock.
That song was a knock.
They were going in, like with them bars.
What part? Like, go ahead.
Like I was pleasantly surprised. They start spitting and like we're really spitting. Like,
yes, sir.
Quote unquote spitting that shit.
Yes,
like,
sir.
Thin with all the gems and knowledge in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that opening.
Yeah. I think you said it right on the head. You touched on so much that we're going to talk about on the show. And speaking of and let me introduce the individual who put this compilation together and gave it to us so we could sample and use it for the show. We have our guest Kudjo Arwa El. Are you here?
Peace and love to everybody.
Yeah, what's up, fam?
Everything's good. Everything's good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I love that music. That was a knock. What was the thought behind that?
Well, first of all, I wasn't even the brainchild behind the operation. One of the Moors out here, Brother Yasun El, who's been, in the music industry out here, when he came onto the science, put his funds together, him and his brother started up a studio. And, being that we had our own studio as Moors, we figured we might as well, put out something. So he rounded up a few of us and said he wanted to deal with it. We were game with it, recruited some other people. And, that's one of the finished products of, family just coming together.
Right.
To keep hip-hop, alive, because you see how crazy it is out there right now, as far as hip-hop's concerned.
Exactly. Keep it alive and keep it ours.
Keep the purpose of hip-hop. Let's keep the purpose of it. You know what I'm saying? The purpose is like a communicative device. You know, it's a that's why hip hop to me is a religion. You know, it's not just words and music. It's a spiritual. It's a hip hop temple, what have you. Yeah. But there's a reason why we have a hip hop temple.
It's a lifestyle. It's a way of. It's definitely a way of life, and that the youth is tapped into a lot more than a lot of other things that are impressionable.
Yeah.
Hip hop can be a strong influence on the youth and pop culture and whatchamacallit. So, it's one of the best ways to get out some knowledge, because if you're dope, you're just dope, regardless of what you're saying. You know what I mean? With hip hop. If you're dope, you're dope. And and then you throw some bars in there too, some knowledge, some eye-opening shit, I didn't think about it like that. Oh.
You're reprogramming minds.
You know what I mean? That's that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But yeah, so that song came out dope, man. Congrats on that. How did it feel coming in? Cause it could be weird coming in with a group that you're not connected with musically. Was it like a easy thing to gel with everybody? Was it an easy process?
Yeah, because it was family, So I mean, if you to check the track record, you could if you go on YouTube, you look up Brass Tacks.
Right.
One of the
Brass
Tacks album is from that group, Brass Tacks.
Okay. Right. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and show that to our viewers right here. Go ahead, keep on going, brother.
That's a hip hop, a foundational hip hop group out here. You know what I mean? GCP, another foundational hip hop group out here. Henchmanati, another and these are, underground hip hop from out here. So, it even though because of the transition in the culture, there hasn't been excommunication. You know what I mean? People still hung out. You know what I mean? It ain't because hip hop's messed up, you don't know who your boy is anymore or whatever.
Right.
So it was easy to do. You know what I mean? Because it's what we do.
Right.
You know it's just like you're saying, it's life. It's blinking. You put on the beat, go in the booth, you spit your bars, you got out the booth, next person.
Yeah, I love it. And what was that website again? Brass, B-R-A-S?
It was on YouTube. And
it's on YouTube.
The group is Brass Tacks, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the singles would be Icebreaker Classics.
Icebreaker Classics.
Okay, Icebreaker Classics.
So you can have an idea of, 90s, what the underground was feeling like here.
Right.
As far as hip hop.
Right.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you talk over there? Go ahead, brother. Yeah, I will.
Hold on 1 second.
We over here fighting. Let go.
Right, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
You just turned us on to something new.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. There's so much work that people put in that nobody hears about.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're talking about a time when, out here, we had the same thing going on here. Crack epidemic and all that.
Right.
Infusion of the gangsterism into this thing that was really about having fun and partying. You know what I mean?
Right. And what region? What area y'all in, fam?
We're in Toronto. What they would say.
Oh, T-Dot. Okay.
As they claim, the 6 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of rich music culture up in Toronto.
So,
yeah.
So being in Toronto, what is the difference of being a Moor in Toronto versus the United States corporation? Because the thing is, I always like to put it forth. We always like to kind of talk about music, talk about all of this. But remember, we're kind of coming. Our show is entry level for those people who are out there searching for more, just not happy, just noticing things out there just ain't right, and they're searching for more. And there's other answers out there that maybe not the church, maybe not the synagogue, maybe not the mosque, maybe not other things. So those who are searching is. For more is who we're trying to address. So is there a difference between living in Canada as a Moor and the United States?
There's no difference in the sense that it's all North America, right? Geographically, Canada is part of North America, but from a
so the struggle's the same.
Right. So historical is the legitimate.
Right.
Like there is a jurisdiction above what they call the United States that was called Canada. Because Canada is an indigenous word. Canada is not a European word.
Right.
So these Europeans that say we're Canadian, that's really corruption, because the real Canadians would be the natives of Canada.
Oh, copy that. Right.
Just like the Americans would be the natives of the Americas.
Right. So are the Moors staking claim to their right of land in Canada the same way they are interested in doing all the time here in America as well?
Well, the claim to land comes from your title. Now, we see this as a vast estate, and the estate or the landmass of North America is ancestral. So nobody has really claim to it like that. It's something that's passed down from generation to generation.
Right.
Right. So being that it's our ancestral estate, we already have the land. If we say that we are the heirs to it.
Right.
It's what are you gonna do now that you've made the claim?
True. A lot of
and how does the system? Okay, and how is the government different in Canada versus the United States? Because I know I'm very familiar with our system here. Not saying I know it in and out, but I've experienced it all my life, and so I was wanting to know the situation, the condition, and the functionality and how it runs differently in comparative and to the United States.
From if you look at it as from governmental, we have a federal over here, a federal side, right? We have a Supreme Court. We have, a police chief, mayors, going down the line, right? Mm-hmm. But really, these two places are one place. Right. The concept of border has us think there's separate things going on. For example, we have something in Toronto called Dundas Square, right?
Okay.
If you go to Dundas Square, you'll think you're in Times Square. Right? There's a campaign called Sister Cities in Canada, right? And the campaign is that every major Canadian city has a relative or a quote unquote sister city in the quote unquote United States. And the sister city for Toronto is Chicago. And then that plays in part with Noble Drew Ali and, you know, him saying that he wanted to start things here, and, you know, the proclamation that came out honoring Noble Drew Ali, you know, by Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago. You know, so the system is the same. It's the people that aren't exactly clear on what's going on.
Right.
Because they've been taught to look at the illusion as a reality, and then the people in charge are dealing with reality.
Right. That's deep.
So again, for, you know, on a basic level, you can go to United States Security and Exchange Commission website. This is their website. This is not what I'm saying. I'm not anti-government, anything like that. This is their website, right? Under their website, they're going to have a section where you can put in a CIK number. CIK number.
CIK.
Yeah, the CIK number is 0000230098. Right, again, 0000.
Okay, we had a delay. Here, hold on.
0098.
Okay, what website was that again? Let's go there. Let's go ahead. Let's go do it. I didn't know we were going to do it.
Yeah, United States Security and Exchange Commission.
Commission.
Okay.
SEC. Yeah, that's now.
Boom. All right. So then, now do what?
Now, there's somewhere where you can put in a CIK number or a business number or
entity search.
Anyway, yeah, whatever search it is.
Okay, I have a search engine. Go ahead and give it to me. It was 00. Okay, I was ready. What was it? 00.
00230098. 40230098.
Copy that. And while we're looking this up, what does this state? If you don't mind.
This basically tells you where the head office of Canada is.
Corporation of Canada.
Corporation of Canada.
All right, Kudjo, I'm about to click the button. All right, I'm on Corporation of Canada, and it says Edgar search results, and it says Canada CIK 0000230098. See all company filings. It says foreign government state location is DC, fiscal year end of. Okay, so therefore you just showed us that it's governments in DC?
Right.
Copy that.
Now you have to ask yourself, if that's a government that has its own jurisdiction over here, supposedly.
Right.
Why is their office in DC? And then when you check the charter of the United States government, you're going to ask yourself, why is their government in France? Why is their head office in France?
Okay, can we? That's something very important. Where would I go to find that information out? That's very important. You just said.
You have to
Let's do your research on the charter for the United States of America.
So you said I could go to a page and see that. Was that true?
You said Google it.
Okay.
Whatchamacallit?
Yeah, you'll just do your research and that'll come up. It's not a hard thing to find. It's a fact that they're chartered, because remember that they were colonies initially. You know, the history books don't lie. They tell you that they were colonies.
Right.
But those colonies were corporations. not states as in the land.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They
So
were corporate jurisdictions. They weren't the land. They were places only on paper.
right. So do you guys have the same success in claiming your indigenous rights up there, and not like not needing to abide by specific rules of the land because you guys because we or you do not live under that jurisdiction, and establish yourselves as corporations and things like that, and put into the trust like some of the Moors do here?
Yes, we stand on our nationality and birthrights. You know, that we are the indigenous people of the land. Really, because of the occupation that's been going on and the lack of constitutional enforcement by the people, the juggernauts called government have an upper hand. But they're the ones with the jails and the guns, and they could choke you out on the corner on camera and they're going to get off.
Right. Irregardless.
So, you know, regardless. So you want to tread lightly with these people, regardless of whether it's inalienable right, God-given right, or whatever. You're not just going to, you know, sway your influence or whatever.
Right.
You're gonna exercise in a manner that will allow you to be able to exercise what needs to be exercised, because their whole issue is don't wake up the sheep, because the sheep are who keep them in power.
Right.
The people who call themselves government, they don't have power. All their power comes from the people, whether it's them paying taxes to them and funding them, whether it's them paying, you know, some boot your car, pay $500, get it out, and you got 50,000 people doing that. They're going to eat quite well for a good while. If people are dumb enough to, you know what I mean, just go pay because something was on their car.
True. So you need to be more like strategic in how in the way that you assert your rights. I mean, but it's with everything, you know what I mean? Like when we look at you know, MCing was strategic at one time. Right, still is to some, should be anyway.
Right, you know what I mean? You know, at one time, dancing was strategic. If you're going up against that other guy or whatever, you better have something to pull off. You know what I mean? You better have a move to trump his moves. Right.
Very true.
You know? So strategy is something that, you know, once you remove from using the art of war, now you're victim to it. Because remember, offense is also defense.
Very true.
There's a book called The True History of Our National Debt, The Coming Battle by Paul Walker. I think that is a book that Rami El Bey gave me, because I asked him this specific question, because right now, you know, I hear, you know, right now that's something I'm kind of looking at. I haven't researched that. And so he gave me that book, and it's a 360-page book for our audience to see. And to answering that question, I haven't vetted that question out, nor do I have an argument against it or what have you. But I'm showing them that book right now on the screen right now, my brother.
Yeah. What's up with that book?
Oh, it says The True History of the National Debt. And I'm not, so the importance of the charter in which we're discussing with Abraham Lincoln, I mean, the charter of the United States has to deal with Abraham Lincoln, and what has been said is that he shut down the charter in the United States, the United States charter that was in France because they were running a coup and so forth. And so go ahead, Kudjo, go ahead. You go ahead and explain more because I know you were I'm the student.
Yeah, based on it being a Republican form of government and him seeing that the mob was taking over.
Right.
That's why they had the smear campaign against him, saying that he's, half black and all that, he's half nigger and all this, try to, demoralize him or ruin his character.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just like they do today, slander campaign that they pull on somebody when they're starting to tell the truth or whatever.
Nick Cannon,
perfect example. Right? All of a sudden, he starts wearing a turban. He stopped being nigger all of a sudden, and now he's a threat to the establishment.
Exactly.
Same thing with Lincoln.
Now all of a sudden, stand-up jokes we're thinking about firing you for, and from your job for, come
on now.
Easy to see.
That should really be an alarm for people to really see that and kind of think about that. When people do certain moves, but go ahead, continue the discussion about Abraham Lincoln. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So because he saw what they were up to, he tried to assist in, using his power, being that he was on the inside, to try to save, quote unquote, the nation. Because remember that history called United States of America history is dealing with Europeans and their colonies. That's not everybody's history.
Right.
That's their private books.
Mm-hmm.
Only if you're a citizen do you have, and you already know, Dred Scott case, that so-called blacks can't be citizens. So United States has nothing to do with black people. Quote unquote. Black people.
Right.
It has nothing to do with them because they can't be citizens.
I heard that.
Right? Which is why now they had the Freedmen's Bureau, because the Freedmen's Bureau, which they dissolved in 1870 or something, was supposed to take these people who were classified as Negro black, since they couldn't be citizens of that, to make them heirs to the land, which they were in the first place.
Right. So what do you...
This is around the same time, 1865. This is around the same where this transition's making place, quote unquote, Emancipation Proclamation. Right?
Right.
Where Lincoln had to pretty much sell out now. Right?
Right.
Because he's part us. So yeah, he dissolved them, but the coup had already taken place. That's why he got assassinated.
Right. Had to go.
He was too late to stop the coup.
Yeah.
If they were able to assassinate him, and that's a documented fact, then it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes back to that thing about Thomas Jefferson when he was talking about, you now have a republic if you're willing to keep it. So now it's on the people now, and whether they want the republic back or do they want this mobocracy that they call democracy ruling over them.
Exactly, because they don't have their interest, nor do they have a vote in anything that happens.
Right.
And we just saw that.
And remember, the dark-skinned people are the Aboriginal indigenous people, so it's not like we're citizens of that because we have a job with them or whatever. Our status is different. If we say that we're black or whatever, then you're their property. You're not a citizen. They own you under the 14th Amendment, which again is not ratified. That's not law. That's some stuff that they just made up and put in there.
But if you go with it, then you're their property unless you correct something there?
Right.
Okay. Because then all of a sudden, I guess it's an assumption of jurisdiction?
Because that's the only way they get jurisdiction, by assuming and you not counterclaiming their assumption.
Okay.
So they assume the earth is flat. And then they have all their bigwigs come out and say that or whatever, and then you don't see anything. Don't be confused when you see in 5 years they talk about they change their maps and now they have the real map that the earth is flat. Just like they changed dictionaries and made, connotative meanings a reality. that people somebody would willingly call their child a kid when a kid is a baby goat. And then they call them kids all through their life, have them go to the kids section and all that in all these stores and go to the kids section when they're shopping online, and then they don't realize that they just did a ritual on their child, turned them into an animal, and then now they're mad that they're acting like animals out here. Uncontrollable animals.
Right.
That have no training. It's because of the ritual that they got put on them. That they're kids, which are baby goats.
Which are her baby goats?
A kid is a baby goat, not a child.
Right.
Like certain things are lost. Like that's almost lost. Majority of people, they don't even know that. That they really think that kid means a child. But kid doesn't mean child. Kid means baby goat.
Oh, right.
You can look that. Yeah, I'm gonna show the audience that. Keep on going, brother. But there's some sacrifice. There's pretty much what he's getting at. If I'm assuming to be, not to say interpret, but the significance of the things that they put us in, the terminology, they're using occultic things on us, and they're switching things up because a lot of us discuss about how they have certain rituals and certain things of eating us and certain nasty stuff, and I think kind of doing a kid and a goat is kind of what you're alluding to, is the switch of some of these, just right in front of our face, talking about kids being a goat. We call our kids goat, making that, sheep for the slaughter. You know what I'm saying? Not
right.
Sheep and goats are different.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's not really a cult or witchcraft or anything, rituals on the level that people think, because when we use logic and common sense, if magic is called spells, then putting words and letters together is spelling.
Yes.
Okay, so how powerful is that then in actuality? If magic is spells, and then that and words, using words and putting them together is called spelling.
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, so that means that language is magic then.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So if language is magic, then why are people scared of occult when everybody has a language?
Because they're spookified.
Right. And then again, just like kid, because they don't know the origin of occult. They think occult means some witchcraft, cutting off animal heads and stuff like that, when occult means hidden.
Hidden. And we're showing them the etymology dictionary. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you can't find your keys, they're occult. If some child is playing with another child and they take that child's ball and put it under a blanket, that ball is now a cult.
I heard that.
I know. So we're going to say that those children are witchcraft. We got to kill them because they're doing witchcraft.
And that's very true. And I'm showing here the online etymology of the kid, and just for edification purposes and future scholar research skills. When you see these, you have to look at these very carefully, because the first one says kid's a verb, and it throws you an 1839 definition. You have to look at these definitions and going down and look at the earliest one and kind of read through this, because they don't put it in a historical timeline for you. So there's things in here that are hidden that we're going through with my students as well earlier today, like with the word nice, you know what I'm saying? And we'll let you talk about that too. And the first use of that word was 1200, and it means the young of a goat, and it's Scandinavian. And Norse can, the area that comes from there. If you study that history, you can understand how that is influenced into today's politics, because you can see kind of who kind of, I think in a certain way that the Nordics had a lot of, there were some tribes up in that area, if I'm right, and they kind of moved down, the Visigoths and Vandals, and they kind of moved in, so forth.
Yeah. I mean, and then that would connect you to the historical timeline, because if you're doing any studying, it would be wise to have a dictionary of the language that you're studying, so you can be clear on what's being said. So in looking up kid, you find out about Nordic, and then you go check that, see what that said, and then that's gonna break something down to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a continuous process. There's no finish line to learning. There's no end place where, oh yeah, you finally know it all. Man will never know it all. But the more you know, improves you. The more that you find out, just by doing, just because you got Google in your palm.
You're all knowing. You're God.
You know what I mean?
There's no excuse.
No excuse right now. Zero excuses for being stupid. Like we say, smart is the new gangster. Don't be stupid.
Right.
Smart is really the gangster. How those guys ruling the world, all those mafia people or whatever, because they know themselves. They know that they're Italian or whatever like that. They know their history, they know their gods, they pray to their gods, and they worship who they worship, and they get what they deserve because of how much honor they have for whatever they honor. You know what I mean? Chinese the same way. Mexicans, whoever, the same way. Anybody with a nationality, they have some customs, cultures, standards that they live by. And we have to get back to those standards for ourselves as quote-unquote black people. Because eventually, they're not going to let you say you're a citizen of those people's corporation, those colonial offices. Because those things are imploding as we speak.
Is that kind of why you see, I'm just asking, when you said they're kind of imploding, do you think that's related to what's going on with Donald Trump not filling in the seats of the embassies and so forth?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's go to the initial action, him being quote-unquote the president. Now, if you check the record, you know that U.S. quote-unquote government hasn't even started paying back the principal to China yet. They're still paying interest. They didn't start paying on the principal yet. They're still paying interest right now.
Damn.
To China. Only. Just that debt only. We're not even talking about all the other debt. If you want to talk about national stuff. Well, you got debt to China, some trillion or whatever, and you never started paying principal yet. So the best guy for the job would be a businessman. You know, especially one who's bankrupted many many businesses.
He's a perfect expert on bankruptcy.
He's perfect bankruptcy expert. Right? Because they tried everything else to try to help these so-called Negro, black, colored people to get the point. They forced somebody to be in office 8 years, endorsed the Declaration of Human Rights and all that stuff for these people. Gave them cell phones and all that stuff. They still didn't figure out that, you know what I mean? He was trying to tell them. You know what I mean? He came here as a Kenyan. He's foreigner. How's he foreigner and he's able to be president of European corporation? Oh yeah, because it's a European corporation, that's why. It's not a government. It's a business. Anybody could be president of that. Your actor could be a president. A billionaire bankrupt guy could be the president.
Hey, we've had actor presidents before.
Oh, we've had actor presidents.
Ronald Reagan.
Right? Really? An actor was your president, and you think you're taking this serious? And then, of course, the world is looking at everybody here like a joke. Mainly the people who they see on BET, as they like to say. You know, and when they bump into somebody who knows their self, they want to bow and take pictures and try the fez on and stuff like that.
Real tough.
But they don't care about any Negro stuff. They don't even want to hear about it. You know, Negro meaning, you know, black issues, African American, African Canadian issues. You don't want to hear none of that. Because everybody knows that those are false. You know, that's slave begging stuff.
That is, and they always want us to that position. That's why they keep. You know that old picture has that brother on one knee, and he has his hands together with chains around his feet. That's the position they want us in.
Yeah, the position they want. When you don't have to be in that position.
If you use your mind.
Right
Brother.
Position.
Go ahead, brother. Talk about the uprightness, man. Go ahead.
Right. You know, because we stand on, you know, the shoulders of people who came before us that were kings and queens and generals and, you know what I mean, high scientists, high priests, astrologers, mathematicians. That's our legacy. You know, but how we detach ourselves from that legacy is by classifying ourselves by names that aren't connected to those legacies. Just like in no way, shape, or form does kid connect to a child. Right? Black does not connect to anything but a slave history. That's it. If you're black, it's cool. You know what I mean? You can be black if you want to, but know that you just classified yourself as a slave when you say that. Black whatever, black president, black business league of the whatever, black schools for the whatever, anything having to do with black, they're playing that game with you. Of you be a color while everybody else be a nationality.
Yes.
The Chinese people in the school never have the yellow group for some yellow whatever.
Yeah, and all of them don't be hanging out together, all these different kinds of Asian types.
Right.
You're 100%, man, on the black, because we have to the creator of terminology is the definer of the word, right? So if they're the ones who created this terminology and they're the ones who came up with this word, and they're the ones who came up with the word black. And I'm gonna connect this, Kudjo, for you, because the viewers have been watching me kind of thumb through some websites, and I'm at the Jewish Encyclopedia looking up Baal. And how I got here, my brother, is that I went to the word black, right? And we're on the etymology dictionary, and it's an adjective in Old English. See, they throw these dates in here. Old English. See, Old English, man, I ain't gonna get into it. But they have what is called there to shine, to flash, to burn, right? And then they have a word here it comes from figure to blaze, from Latin or whatever. We know Latin. I can connect Latin to Greek to Hebrew, right? So I'm thinking of the word Baal, okay? Baal is Baal to me because it's the flash, to shine, to burn, right? So then I just thought in my head, because I do a lot of, reading research like you do, and they want to call our children kids and goats to turn them black, to burn them to Baal, what I'm saying, to their Lord, what I'm saying? And Baal means husband. I mean, it's these things that you're connecting, because we were just talking about the Nordics and all the connection to here. I just had to just kind of catch you up what the viewer's seeing also in relation to what we're talking about. So, these things are connected, and what Kudjo is telling everybody in a very rational way, calm, collective, just make you think about this. A person who you named your own children. So if your name, like my daughter's name is Sarah, okay? And if someone tries to say Sarah, no, it has a double R. Oh, Sarah means this. No, it doesn't. Doesn't mean that. She said, no, that's not what my daddy said my name means. And and she'll argue with the person because she knows what her name is because her daddy done told her. The thing is, these days we call ourselves black because guess who's our daddy? Our daddy is the Democratic Party who's continued trying to expand governments and increase welfare recipient EDBT card debt funds accounts and stuff, and that's how we came from Republican to Democrats, because we were giving out handouts, and that was a trap. And so now our daddy is the one who's feeding us, and they define black as what they said. And we're in, no offense to my brothers out there in the churches, I love you, man, I love you guys, but this is my perspective, and please pull me aside if I offend my brothers. Just pull me aside. I'll be glad to talk to you further, and if I'm wrong, brothers out in the churches, I will come on the show and I'll apologize. But from my perspective is they use these terms black, and we're in the churches redefining these things, and the people who helped define the definition of black were part of the church, the Catholic Church and so forth, talking about the black codes. You know what I'm talking about, Kudjo? And they helped define that. And so if they define what black is, and it means to the bleach, what did they bleach? So I'm just, I just had to go ahead, Kudjo.
And also too, when you say the black codes, always remember, anytime they show you black anything relative to people in history or something like that, or a culture in history called black, whatever, always replace black with slave in your mind. And then see if it makes sense.
Right.
So if somebody says black pants, replace black with slave. Slave pants, well, it doesn't really fit really.
Right.
If they say black people, and you put slave there, that's more than likely what they mean when they say that. If they say black community, and switch it, it might not really fit or whatever. But if they say, black pastor, black teacher, black whatever, and you switch slave, you'll realize that very, very quickly, you'll realize that you can't be that. On top of that, if you look in a mirror, you're really brown.
Man, go ahead, brother. I said that to a student today because we had the same conversation today because I knew it was going to be on the show. She says, I'm black. I said, how did you pass first grade not knowing your colors?
Yeah. And that's basic.
That is basic. Basic logic.
This is where they get, you know, the individuals, especially young people, not thinking for themselves logically. You know what I mean? Like, they're really gonna go out there and take, you know, some of them, not all of them. You know, they're gonna take, you know, alcohol, mix it with syrup, and call that a drink. Cough syrup or whatever. You know what I mean? When you're growing up, first thing you learn is alcohol doesn't mix with anything medication. It's not even a thought to even go there. Now they don't even think before they go there. I mean, it's like brother has a belt on, but his pants is under his ass. So he has a belt. You know what I mean? Like, the belt implies above your waist pants.
So pretty much he does not know how to use a belt.
So if you don't know how to use a belt, you probably don't need a job, because if you can't use a belt, you can't work anywhere. That's below intelligence of a human being. If you can't even use a belt properly. Like, if it's time to eat soup and you want a fork, something's wrong with you mentally.
So let me ask you a question, Kudjo. I've been asked to participate in the Black Wall Street or events and stuff like that. And the majority of our people are thinking this way. And I've noticed, it's very hard to change people's opinions and so forth. But so would you think it is unwise, or do you think that we should abstain from all type of activities in dealing with those individuals of black, since since you're making that statement, or you're just, or do we just continue? What would we do it strategically, as far as in people who are aware of what you're saying, and in relation to other brothers and sisters who aren't conscious of this?
Our presence is what makes people realize what nationality is about. Like, there's no yellow Wall Street.
Right. For sure.
There's no yellow town. There's no yellow town. How come there's no yellow town?
Because they have a nationality?
Right? It's just that simple. So, our presence is going to assist them in their, like, I'm not a supporter of meet them where they are and all that stuff. I'm about, how about lift your hand out this grave, let me pull you out, if you really want to get out the grave. You know what I mean? But I'm not about to jump in the grave with you to try to get you out the grave. You know what I mean? But then now both of us are in there, and you weigh 200 pounds. Now we're both stuck in here.
Word.
Right? So if there is a Black Wall Street, then there should be a Moorish business there standing as that.
Right.
And that will be a deciding factor in people supporting that quote-unquote Black Wall Street. Because remember, the support is going to come from people who need those services or goods that they have. It doesn't matter what they look like. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how they physically look doesn't matter. If you have the goods that I need, then I'm buying from you, because you have the stuff that I need. Oh, is your haircutting service best? Then, like with all these sisters, right, who get their nails done, they should be masters at doing nails, and it should be Asiatic nail salons by now.
That's right.
Like, why you guys don't have your own? You guys use more nails than anybody else. You guys use more fake hair than anybody, but you don't sell no fake hair. You already buying that from some foreigner.
Right, yes you are.
Right.
But why would you put, I don't get why they put horses' tails in their hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even,
doesn't even vibrate
it's
right.
It's like the belt. You know what I mean? It's like the belt. You got your own hair. You're not going to grow that, but then you're going to, you know what I mean, take people's hair, so supposedly, you know, when you got the real Indian hair and all that stuff, that's Indian hair that those people gave to their god or whatever, that these guys stole.
Right,
and they're selling it as hair. Like, so you don't think some Hindu gods are going to come after you for their hair and stuff like that?
Yeah, they do, and I agree. Why don't we go ahead and grind up some pig and just rub it on our face with different colors? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't just take a pig and just wipe it on our face. If we really think about the products and what they're made of, oftentimes, that makes a lot of sense. Did you find it, Jamie? The other video, as commercial or something. But I'm with you on that. So what I would like to do, Kudjo, do you see that video? What I'd like to do, Kudjo, is take a little moment, take a little break real quick, get a drink, get a chance to get a drink of water, just real briefly. And then I want to play one of your songs. I want to play one of your videos here, and that I kind of slapped together. Nothing really big, but just kind of some promos and so forth. And I do have Black Wall Street on here because I've been asked to help coordinate certain things. I'm gonna say that the truth that you speak about the presence is very true, and I think that we all have within our interaction in our consciousness with other individuals who are not necessarily where we're at. There's a sliding scale. There's a sliding scale of kind of how far are we gonna compromise? Do we meet them? Because I want to talk about a little bit more about some of the ways we can approach our brothers, Black Power, Kemet brothers, even Hebrew Israelites. They're a little easier to approach because they get the Canaan thing. But I want to talk about that. And and some things in play that we can have that we're doing for a solution and bringing this knowledge and so forth. So I want to talk about that. So I want to talk about those two things when we come back.
No problem.
All right, brother.
MSTA. So why you trying to infiltrate more science? With your branch of division, I ain't seen no alliance. And what's with all the hostility, defiance? The truth is like a sledgehammer, ain't no denying. And most of y'all schools of thought you be lying. Ain't no difference from the Dogons, Olmecs, and Mayans. So what you trying? They all Moors, navigate the 7 seas and ruled all the shores. Channel the breeze, and we explored. We used to worship trees and travel through doors. And when we walk the streets, it's us they adored. A Moor, arm, leg, arm, head, always. And it's all law, no pray. And it's all work, no play. And nationality is the order of the day. Sheikh Sharif Abdullah, he's the last prophet that was sent to free Mason. Oh, I mean my son. Just remember, the cycle soon done. A Medunetar, another soon come.
My Moorish science is a Moorish science to help me navigate the cosmos and orbit Orions. Space boot the satellite, plus tickets and summons. If they don't pay, I'm rich with heat, sun 'em and bun 'em. More wealth coming, no need for gunning or hanging on the poor corner from the beast, no running. So more rich with knowledge of birthright theft. Won't leave me like I'm a do, but I might get only under color of. No undercover love for the more rich gods on earth or above. Extra terror astral, not crooks with castles. Rituals more rich, I learned from Randolph Pascal. More rich and bust the axle. More rich makes head turn fast, snap and crackle. Bury the wealth like a jackal. Save it for later to suit a constitutional psychopathic inferior hater. More rich mysteries stay lesser and greater. More rich with the science, no need for fiat paper. More rich furnace turn this beat to vapors. More rich, added master mason. Omega, Maroc, I make some vex 'em with the fam, no phones. I mental text 'em, vent and hex 'em with shaman stones and donkey jaw bones. Where's the Moorish chorus?
I remember teachers teaching the ancient. I'm reaping rewards with my patience. I have escaped from the matrix. Save it. Memory bank, I replace it. Moorish science, masses, face it. We got to move forward with the basics. Law is all and you can't erase it. I am master and student. Pace it, lace it up in your psyche. Jew Ali got that mandate back. Lords of the land, we white, not black. Redefinitions, plan up your mission. All us, not us, prepare, quicken. Spiritual levels of consciousness. Intra, life. Sub, super, magnetic, and infinite. Yes, beings of light, this is our land. 30 million acres with the power in our hand. Just the power in our hand.
I think deeper on what we are. From word sound to dust, from dust to star, from star back to dust again, from God body to ruffian, particle realities and trust in men, despite the growing pains, the visions in the holy names, infinite potentials that we hold in chains, yet we hold the same, 99.9% DNA. So how could complexion be probable cause for a BNA? I seen brothers go through the same of what I've been through, but how are we supposed to? Is it what we're exposed to, or the guidance of Allah? Hindsight is 2020 and 2015, that's not far. Religions are irrelevant. Stand firm and stick to the covenant. It's not between God and one nation or one group of people. That's insane. It's between God and man. That's you and your creator, hand to hand. More science.
All right, we're back with Kudjo, Ottawa L. And we're discussing in our show, at a point in our show where we are talking about people who understand that they're Moors and they're standing on national principles. And there's Moors, standing on the national principles, engaging in the what is called black community. No disrespect in that term. We're not disrespecting the person at all. We're just talking about the terminology and the definitions behind it within the black community. And we're also going to talk about some solutions of, us as Moors and the black community, and help bringing them to understanding to gain nationality, because we've obviously talked about the word black and what it means. So, you talk about Kudjo, you talk about, you stand on your square, and when you're engaged with these black folks and these black communities, and what does that look like? Are we getting confrontational here? When you say you have a presence, you're not going to compromise, and maybe some of us, we could talk about maybe the philosophy of kind of meeting somebody where they're at a little bit, but so I've known you, and I haven't seen you to be controversial or argumentative with people. So I don't think that is what I don't want the audience members to kind of misconstrue that.
Right. Just meaning that when our people fail to accept the facts that are right in front of their face, then you can't do anything for them at that point, because it's on them. So when we say, to somebody, you're not black, and they're not digesting why they're not that. They're just saying they're not that, or they're just agreeing that they're that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a hex that they're putting on their self, not knowing what we were talking about earlier, the magic of language. That if you call yourself an adjective, don't get mad when you're choked out on the corner and the people get off, because it's like no different than they murdered a chair.
Or Mickey Mouse.
Go right ahead and be an adjective. Common sense should tell you, well, if Chinese people don't call themselves adjectives, they have a nationality. And Europeans don't call themselves adjectives, they have a nationality. And there's even people darker than you from the continent of so-called Africa that are really black, and they don't even call themselves black.
Right.
And you still want to call yourself black? Then you go right ahead. But we warn you that you have another thing coming, playing those games that you're adjective. The fun and games is only going to last so long until it's time for the property to be returned to the corporation. So it's not a thing of, you know, we're speaking from we don't know. We were once black people. We once considered ourselves black too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
We're of a higher mind now, because we know the implications that come with calling ourselves these labels that are not really identities of people.
Yes, sir. And with that, the identities, I want to take a moment to meditate on that. The identities. What does black look like now? What does Moor look like? Okay, culturally, now black. Is that looking like he's talking about, pants hanging down, acting wild or something like that? Not to say that all of us, but I'm saying the picture, the stereotypes that they're painting is the image in which he's referring to. They created that image. But when I look at Canaanland Moors and the other Moors, I don't see anybody creating their identity other than themselves. And they're creating their own culture themselves. So in a way, black, like you're talking about, is chattel property. It is property, and you know, it's property. And it seems like Cornel West said in his book, and I talked to him for one time when he came down. I opened up his mother's school, elementary school out here in Sacramento. His mom has a school, and I opened it up. And in his saying, I got this idea that just resonated with me. He said, African American is a product of American society, in more or less terms. Mm. So when Kudjo is talking about the identity, that's huge. And so Kudjo, like we talked about music, but what ways have you found to be successful in kind of communicating with people to change their minds? Because sometimes it's not our fault. And some people are intelligent, but you know, these programs are pretty deep. And so some of it is them, and some of them is not, and some of them are willing. And what are some ways have you found to be to positively communicate your message and to transition the severity of your message to the individual, you know, to other black people to at least think about that?
I think a lot of it is documenting things. So, for example, with myself, you know, doing music and writing books and stuff like that, those things are always going to be able to go somewhere where I can't go. Always. As long as it's available, it's going to go where I can't go. And if one person gets it, the job is done. Because I'm not doing this for name or fame or anything. I'm just doing this to get information out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're more, we have certain information, we know how to rhyme on beats. Let's put out a compilation and get this info.
Yes,
we
sir.
sell 1 million copies, hey, great. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's not that serious.
Right. You document. You making documentation, kind of like this show. I kind of want to do it for my children. You know, then come back, look at Pops. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's what Pop was doing. I was after he put me to bed after dinner. You know what I'm saying? He went over there, spit some knowledge real quick so I could look at it later on.
Right. Because really, that's what it's about. It's about the younger generations having something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? These people have gotten into the mentality of, you know, want something now or want something for them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When this is not, this is for the ones coming behind us to have something. Because we always say, you know, if I only knew what I knew when I was your age or whatever, when we talk with some of these, you know what I mean, the younger generation that are on the knowledge, you know what I mean, that they're not black and all that, you know, they're at least willing to stop and think about it for a sec, like, hey, yeah, I'm actually brown, like, why am I calling myself black or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Their senses kick back in. You know, the brainwash recedes fast from this young generation. But that's also why they're so easy to manipulate. You know what I mean? It's a double-edged sword. You know.
What do you see? I mean, in the future, do you see? I mean, do you see us? I mean, what do you? Not that you have a crystal ball, Mighty Kudjo. Tell us what you see.
I definitely have a turban on.
I know. But what remedies are we having? Solutions? What direction are we going in? And you know, and I know you have a lot of going on. Could you? You know, could you go ahead and talk to us about some of the solutions and things that you have going on for us to look forward to?
As far as the solutions for people who are seeking to make things better, right? More so younger people. One thing that you want to get is the Tao of Wu, the RZA book. If you haven't read that book, make sure you go pick that book up and read this book.
Say that word again. Say that book again, brother.
The Tao of Wu. Tao of Wu.
Tao of Wu. Okay. I'm going to get to put that out for the audience, brother. I never read that book. Go ahead, brother. Thank you for catching me up. Go ahead, brother. Tao what?
Tao of Wu.
W. It's a book called Tao Wu. All right. Go ahead, brother. Can you go ahead? I found it for the audience. Sorry to pause you and interrupt you, but could you go ahead and continue? Hello, Kudjo? Did he hang up? He's there, right? Yeah?
Yeah, it's still showing he's there.
All right. We don't hear you.
The Tao of Wu. Go up.
There we go. Right, the Tao of Wu. There we go. We got it for the audience there, Kudjo. I don't know where you're at. You might want to check your,
Yeah, through,
Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's see what he's talking about here. Let's explore this a little further. Yeah, it shows that he's on there. I didn't hit mute. That's mute right there, right? But then he wouldn't be able to hear us. That had nothing to do with it. So let's take a look at that. We got some, man, you can get some right there. See, this is what AfroMajors.com is going to be for us, if you know what I'm saying. See, what they do is they put these books on here, and some of them charge really high amounts for really expensive information. I know information is money, but good Lord. Great big combination story, gives a bit of history, own personal history, plenty of deep religious life lessons. Okay, see, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you could do on affirmations.com. You could purchase something and then you could leave something down here. And this is a private forum, so I am talking in privacy here. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this book has a lot to do with the Tao energies, and it sounds like a historical account of somebody who was there. So I don't know, Kudjo, I'm not muted. It's CIA messing with. All right, I'm gonna call you back, Kudjo, and then I'm gonna call you right back. That's funny. He's not muted. It's so funny. He's not muted at all. You see that, ladies and gentlemen? He's not muted. So we're gonna call him right back right now, and then we're gonna end up ending the show. That was him, right? What number was that he on? Right here, 1 hour 20 minutes 5 seconds. Let's call this brother. Oh, got his number all out there. This is a screen I can see, guys. Sorry about that. I gotta
Peace.
Peace, King.
Oh, all of a sudden, unmuted.
Hey, you know how that goes. You know how that.
When you're doing good, only when you're doing good work.
All
right. Only when you're doing good work. If you're not doing good work, then your show will go off first.
Right. You were talking about the Tao of Wu.
Right. So, this was a book written by the RZA, just dealing with the whole science of Wu-Tang and growing up in Staten Island, and lessons that were learned. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's a good. It reminded me a lot of another book is The Alchemist. It reminded me a lot about The Alchemist. This book, a very good self-realization book. Make you think different, think deeper. You know what I mean? Not always looking at the surface as to be what it is. So that's a good read. Another one is Hip Hop Decoded by the Black Dot.
Hip Hop Decoded?
Hip Hop Decoded. And again, it's somebody who grew up in the foundation of hip hop, telling their story about what it is and where it's come. Somebody who was in the industry, had record deal, all that stuff, and just giving a brighter perspective, a wider perspective of looking at hip hop. Connecting the elements of hip hop to the earth elements. MC and being fire, and then they're gonna say, spit that fire and stuff like that. The music being the airwaves, or the air. You know what I mean? The water being the breakdancing. The graffiti being the hieroglyphics. So he goes deep with it. Right? The Black Dot, Hip Hop Decoded. Yeah. And he has videos on YouTube and stuff like that you can check out as well.
Yeah, he has a book out there. His book that you're talking about is about $120. $120?
Nah, that might be Amazon trying to jack some finance. Better you go to his YouTube page and message him from there or something.
His YouTube page? Okay.
Yeah.
See,
What I mean?
Because we're telling
these people, how these people do with because there's no affirmations and stuff like that.
Right.
These people are getting their cut. So that's real. Like that book ain't no 120. See if you talk to Black Dot.
Man, I didn't figure Black Dot would do us like that. Black Dot wouldn't do his people like that.
No way. No way. I vouch for him on that one.
Yeah. See, right, man. I'm looking on afromations.com right now, and this is a shameless plug because this is like, he said you do work, you put in work, and I'm putting in the work to create a e-commerce marketplace for our people so that we can monitor stuff like that. Because how many times, Kudjo, have you tried to buy a book and they jack that price sky high?
Right.
And what you got to do is you got to look at their pricing. Their pricing fluctuates between on different items. Mine's just straight across the board because I ain't trying to control information. I'm just trying to say I got to there's overhead and what I'm saying, you get paid too. But that is exactly what's going on. They controlling the information through pricing, just like it's almost like Amazon just pulled you over and gave you a ticket to buy that book. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
Literally gave you a big old ticket.
We're not gonna kill them. You know what I mean? Because there's some people who are benefiting good, and Amazon ain't really killing them like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's still, if we look at what you're doing with your site, at least we're putting it to our own.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know, like the trust me, the Chinese corporation has Chinese IT. They're not playing and playing games with stuff like that. They're gonna make sure that their own is the IT department.
That's what I'm trying to develop. I need help, brother. I'm with you.
So,
we need that.
so
We need our own IT because that's, intelligence, man.
Yeah.
And they mess with our intelligence digitally.
Right.
And we're the ones that develop binary. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that they know that we do. Like it's the new wave. But are we on the board, or are we swimming?
Yeah.
The wave's coming. The wave's here. You know what I mean? But again, the lack of having knowledge of self, which is why it's so important that we know who we are. That, knowledge of self is really what cultivates you into being a benefit to your race. If you want to say race, for lack of a better term. Right? Like, I remember back in the day, we would have something to go to on Saturday morning. Like, you're not getting up Saturday morning and you're just watching TV all day or whatever. You got somewhere to go. Some class or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're going. You have no question. You can't even ask about it or whatever. All you know is Saturday morning is not no getting up at 10 o'clock and all that stuff. You've been up. You're mad back then, but then you get older, you realize, okay, that was discipline. You know what I mean? That was a good thing. I needed that. If I didn't have that, I would be way more wayward than I am already.
So we, it's getting that time to the close of the show, but so the points that I heard you say is think for yourself, be patient, talk to people and explain things to people. Don't get emotional when you're talking about things because you're frustrated, you're not understanding things. It takes time. This Moorish paradigm is Neo coming out. I'm just saying straight up.
Nothing happens overnight. This one show isn't gonna make something happen. This is just gonna spark some little things. You're gonna go check some stuff, and hopefully it takes you into that vast world of knowing. I mean, but we could only do so much, and with what you're doing, with your show, with your site, what we're doing, what I mean, with the YouTube and just the radio shows and stuff like that, we're putting the information out. That's all we could do. What people are going to do with it, that's going to be on them, but they can't say that they weren't told.
That's it. And we can find your music. We're gonna close this out here. I'm the Hessenag niggas. This is Jamie. We're gonna let Kudjo close this out. I'm gonna go to, is it called The Will of Allah? And I'm gonna look up this website. We're gonna show the audience. I'm gonna navigate the website as you close us out, and then we're gonna let you close us out today, man. The first time that our guest close us out. So, is The Will of Allah?
Will of Allah is the website.
All right, I'm navigating through, brother. So go ahead and get your words in there, man. Things that you want to say to our viewers, and of course your people. They're your viewers as well, because I know most definitely if they're watching me, they had you in their YouTube channel a long time ago. So yeah, brother. So go ahead and say what you want to say, brother, and go ahead and take us home, my man.
Well, I mean, first of all, to thank you for what you're doing, and the word that you're getting out as far as trying to liberate our people's minds. It's definitely needed and it's definitely appreciated. being able to be on the platform. For the viewers, the listeners, you know, make sure you support your own, because nobody's going to be looking out for you that doesn't look like you. Trust that, especially if you don't have a nationality. So, you know, even if you're claiming black status or whatever like that, continue to support your own, because you're all you have. You don't have anything else. We don't even have gods to look after us, right? So look after your own and continue to stay positive, because stress kills. And with that, willofallah.com, any music and any information, rvbaypublications.com. Get your study on. Smart's the new gangster. Peace and love.
Peace and love, brother. I think he did.
Yeah, he ended the show.
Okay, he did. Oh, I got it right here.
I feel better though. This is better. It's better. It's like practice.
All right, Kudjo, love you, bro. Islam Moor. Hope to see you. Hope to see your stuff up on the website, man. We gotta work together, brother. I want to push you, man. Love you, man.
I'm gonna be definitely on there. I already got my stuff.
Just moved to Mirror Lake, a state of progress. My process is similar to life, a constant test. Most times we rest to hear.
That's beautiful.
Triggers deep in our persona.
All right, boy. This is one of my favorite songs, man. I'm gonna do a post. I'm gonna do a post tree house. Talk to you later, brother.